Hello. Research is not just the driver of progress, but also regarded as the fulcrum of development, which can sometimes go beyond the boundary of knowledge. Our attention has been drawn to this subsector, and that's our concern tonight. Good evening and welcome to the program. Now, research institutes in Nigeria are involved in the improvement of the genetic potential, agronomic and husbandry practices, including processing and storage of the crops and identification of methods for the control of pests and diseases affecting the crops. They also investigate effective utilization of crops and their byproducts, feasibility of small-scale production, and translation of research results and improved technologies into practice among farmers and manufacturers of production machinery. Nigeria has dozens of research institutes mandated to carry out investigations in all these areas, but it does seem that research products from the institutes are yet to exert sufficient influence on the nation's socio-economic fabric. The irony here is that a compendium of research technologies shows that Nigeria has competent researchers in various fields at home and in the diaspora. In fact, some observers hold the view that in spite of the level of dilapidated equipment, paucity of funds, controversies, strike actions, and other encumbrances, research officers are living up to expectation, as hundreds of technologies generated by these citadels of knowledge are more than enough to make Nigeria self-sufficient in the production of food and technology-based products and services. What is missing, they say, is institute-industry linkage, which is responsible for non-commercialization of a litany of research results and technology extension. On this edition of the program, we shall be asking inquisitive questions to have informational details of the problems and prospects of research institutes in Nigeria. This is Weekend File. So nice to have you join us again on the show. My name is Kirian Umaya, and we begin with the news. News of the day. The state congresses of the All Progressives Congress APC in the Federal Capital Territory ended on a peaceful note, with the affirmation of all the former executive members to run the affairs of the party for another 4 years. Timothy Yusuf reports on the Congress held at the Old Parade Ground, Abuja, as well as reports from some other states of the Federation.
350 delegates partook in the Congress that returned all the former executives of the FCT chapter of the APC by voice votes. Chairman of the State Congress Committee and other stakeholders of the APC note that the party in the FCT remain united and poised towards re-electing President Muhammadu Buhari in 2019.
The FCT APC members are one family.
We are supporting our President Muhammadu Buhari.
I also want to commend His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari for the giant stride and success recorded by his administration.
The All Progressives Congress in Nasarawa State, by consensus, directed officials of the party to retain their positions for the next 4 years, while consolidating on the achievements of previous years.
With the unanimous and almost 100% support of this affirmation and acceptance of this new executive.
They demonstrated good understanding, they demonstrated uncommon cooperation.
Also in Yobe State, all the executive committee members of the APC were returned to their positions through affirmation adopted at the Congress held in Damaturu, the state capital. The over 2,000 delegates equally endorsed President Muhammadu Buhari for second term come 2019. The state Congress was also held in Cross River State, with delegates drawn from the 18 local government areas of the state. The 5-man Congress committee was led by Mr. Hussaini Adamu. In Adamawa State, the Congress was conducted peacefully. Secretary to the government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, was among the delegates, described the process as an indication that APC is upholding internal democracy.
We will get stronger by the day. We've always believed that after this process, every tendency within the party will collapse into one, and we will get stronger and prepare for 2019.
I'm happy with what I've seen, and everything is calm. There is no any problem. And, this is APC in action.
From Benin Edo State, the APC State Congress was conducted in a peaceful and orderly manner. Majority of the elected officials from the 18 local government areas of the state were returned unopposed based on consensus. The position of the state woman leader was, however, among the few not favored by the consensus. The state new executive members of the APC in Kaduna State emerged through consensus, with retired Air Commodore Emmanuel Jakada as chairman.
I'm satisfied. The congresses have gone very well. We've not had any hitches or any serious problems. To a large extent, the leaders of the party agreed to some consensus. I didn't have to put any name or impose anyone. The party leaders came to consensus and we support it, we stand by it.
Certificate of return was also presented to all the elected chairmen and councillors in the 18 local government areas of the state. In Kano, the State Congress was conducted peacefully. More than 3,000 delegates took part in the exercise held at the Sani Abacha Indoor Sports Hall, Kofamata.
The whole process and the arrangement is very impressive.
It means there is a huge success awaiting our party here in Kano, the APC.
In Abuja, Timothy Yusuf, NT News.
And still on the state congresses of the All Progressive Congress, APC, Salihu Abdullahi compiled this report from some states across the country.
From Gombe State, northeast Nigeria, Ibrahim Jibrin reports that Amangal has emerged new chairman of the All Progressives Congress by consensus in an exercise that was conducted peacefully.
Advise them they should be fair and just.
It was the same peaceful atmosphere during the exercise in Borno State, where all contestants for the various offices returned unopposed. Mohammed Goni reports that the exercise held at the Economic Warriors Sports Center in Maiduguri is one of the major events in Maiduguri after the return of normalcy.
Conduct that actually abided with all the provisions of the guidelines and constitution of the APC.
In Ogun State, southwest Nigeria, Lekan Agbonde reports that the new executive was elected peacefully, where Chief Derin Adebi emerged the new chairman of the APC.
So this is how it should be, and I'm sure gradually we are going to have it in Nigeria.
Part of the democratic process from the grassroots of choosing the leadership of the party.
From Makurdi, the Benue State capital, after the successful screening of delegates, party members endorsed and affirmed the existing officials, with Comrade Abba Yaro returning as the chairman. Charles Abba reports that Governor Samuel Otom and some party stalwarts say the peaceful conduct of the exercise is a pointer that APC has a firm grab of the state, which will reflect in forthcoming general elections. In Jos Plateau State, the All Progressives Congress has recorded another feat in the political arena, with the party's state congress described as worthy of emulation. Khaled Goshin reports that all the positions into the party's state executive were returned unopposed.
I endorse the candidate in the person of our dear President Muhammad Buhari.
The same scenario played out at the APC State Congress held in Delta State, which produced the incumbent Prophet Jones Ehui as chairman through affirmation votes from all the delegates in the 25 local government areas.
Objection to the name threat. No!
Austin Edemodu reports that the Congress was conducted by Senator Olugbenga Abadara's led Congress committee. In Abuja, Salihu Abdullahi, NTA News.
And efforts to harmonize and hold a single Congress on APC in Enugu State today met a stalemate. B2 Ehobemium reports that while the faction led by the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Onyama, later held its own Congress, the other faction led by Director General of Voice of Nigeria, Osito Kechukwu, left the venue to decide on the next line of action.
The Congress, which was scheduled to hold at 10 o'clock in the morning, did not happen until 2 o'clock in the afternoon, when the process was disrupted by the group alleging electoral irregularities by the Congress committee from the National Secretariat.
And it is so sad for Enugu State APC, that we cannot hold simple, fair elections where everybody is included.
It's not material here. When you see the material, then we can talk about it.
The group led by the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Oyema, however, stayed back after the two factions fell apart to hold a congress that produced Mr. Oke Ogbodo as the state chairman. Meanwhile, the National Congress Committee, INEC officials, and some party leaders, led by the Director General Von Osita Okechukwu, vacated the venue to decide on the next line of action.
So unfortunately, the people who were not actually elected came in with talks. They disrupted the election.
There were heavy security presence to foster breakdown of law and order. In Enugu, Beauty Robamie, NTA News.
Well, we now take you to Owerri, the Imo State capital, where APC Congress also held today. Let's get the report.
In Imo State, a court injunction was issued to restrain the APC from holding the state congress. A drive round most of the centers, and the APC state secretariat revealed that the designated APC voting centers were devoid of electoral activities. Strategic locations in the state witnessed heavy presence of police. The state governor, Rocha Sokorocha, attributed the rancor in the party on a stand against tenure allegation of the party's National Working Committee. And the court injunction, he said, is to stop further crises in the party.
You have to do the World Congress first, then do the local government Congress first, then do the state. That's the procedure. About 4 people, they decided to take a pound of flesh and to say, if you have stopped us, we'll make sure we'll stop the rating to be done in Imo State. That's the truth.
Governor Okorocha said those causing problems in Imo APC are seeking for relevance through the wrong way, rather than use a civil approach. In Owerri, Selo Sende, NTA News.
Thank you, Sele. The All Progressive Congress in Kwara State held a peaceful state congress in Ilorin, the state capital. However, there was a parallel congress by other factions of the party. Yabude Olorunshola reports.
The State Congress of the APC started at 10 o'clock as scheduled by the party with accreditation of delegates from the 16 local government areas of the state. Holding the congresses at separate venues, both factions had all the 36 executive members emerging unopposed with an open secret ballot adopted to affirm consensus, which is in line with the party's constitution. While Senate President Bukola Saraki affirmed the unity of the party, Moshood Mustafa from the other faction said the exercise is in line with the directives of the national executive of the party.
I want to appeal to all our delegates to please ensure that we show Nigeria the way politics is played in this country.
I'm highly impressed, especially with the orderly conduct of the Congress. This shows that democracy is actually coming up in Nigeria.
The new representatives are expected to vote at the National Congress coming up soon. Iyabode Olorunshola, NTA News.
Now, Chairman of All Progressive Congress APC Ward and Local Government Congresses Monitoring Committee, Joseph Dogo, has expressed satisfaction with the conduct of the rescheduled ward congresses in Rivers State. Onengia Fineface compiled the fallout from the ward monitored by NTA News.
APC National Monitoring Committee in charge of the ward and local government congresses led by Joseph Dogo described the process as transparent, saying that the national leadership of the party rescheduled the congresses to address concerns by dissatisfied stakeholders in the state.
Thank you for coming out for this repeat exercise. It is our desire that the outcome of this exercise would be better, whatever were the limitations and the flaws, that might have been there in the first one. This one would supersede all of them.
In Asari Toru, Degema and Akuku Toru LGAs, the conduct was monitored in some wards with consensus candidates emerging to run the party's affairs at the ward level.
Just to tell you the number of people who are out, the enthusiasm, and the fact that APC remains a family. All issues will be resolved internally and we shall face the opposition as a common front.
The situation was the same in Ikwere and Emowa local government areas where the former executives were re-elected. In Eleme Ward 10, the hometown of Ambassador Oji Ngofa and other wards monitored across the area, the Congress witnessed large turnouts of party faithful who voted to elect 27 sets of ward executives to drive home the message of change.
In spite of late announcement directing us yesterday by the national office of our party to reconduct the ward and local government congresses, you still have a lot of people turning out. It's a great demonstration of faith in what we are doing.
At Beira, Ward 16, Gokana, hometown of the APC National Assistant Secretary Victor Giadom, party faithful, as in other wards monitored, turned out in their numbers to participate in the exercise. No security breaches were observed in all the areas monitored. In Port Harcourt, Onengiye Fineface, NTA News.
And away from APC congresses held today across the nation, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, has disclosed the findings of a panel set up to investigate allegations made against the Nigerian Army in the course of operations in Taraba State. The report concludes that there was no collusion on the part of Nigerian Army units operating in the state with any bandit, as alleged by retired Lieutenant General Theophilus Danjuma. The 10-man panel, comprising serving and retired senior army officers and members of the Nigerian Human Rights Commission and other civil society organizations, found out that there was cooperation between the Army and other security agencies operating in Taraba State. According to the report presented by Major General Nuhu Bajo, most of the crises occurred in the hinterlands where there were no army deployment and the Nigerian-Cameroon common borders in Taraba because borders were porous.
General T.Y. Danjuma retired. It is clear that the allegations were not true. Hence, there's a need to urge for caution in view of the security implication of such comments. The Nigerian Army is also of the view that the situation in Taraba State has steadily deteriorated, largely due to distrust, intolerance, lack of inclusion, and accommodation of different ethnic groups.
The investigation also submitted that there was a massive proliferation of small arms and light weapons, some of which have been recovered from warring factions and unauthorized persons. Now, the newly acquired Nigerian Air Force Mi-35M helicopter gunships have successfully unleashed firepower on Boko Haram terrorists at a camp 9.7 kilometers southeast of Bone in the ongoing Operation Thunderstrike. Director of Public Relations and Information, Nigeria Air Force, Olatokunbo Adesanya, indicates that an earlier intelligence surveillance and reconnaissance report showed significant presence of terrorists in the camp, following which Mi-35M helicopter gunships were deployed to attack them. The footage of the attack, as captured by the helicopter's airborne camera system, indicates the destruction of the targets as the structures within the Boko Haram terrorist camp were engulfed in fire, while all the terrorists within the camp were also neutralized. It will be recalled that the NAF took delivery on the second batch of 2 brand new Mi-35M helicopters on the 30th of April 2018, following which the helicopters were unveiled during the NAF's 54th anniversary celebrations in Kaduna and later deployed for operations. Now, still on security matters, the Nigerian police force will continue to clamp down on any individual or group that vandalizes oil facilities and critical national assets. Force Public Relations Officer Jimo Mushud re-emphasized this while parading 13 suspects arrested for criminal conspiracy and crude oil theft in Kaduna, Niger, and Delta State. Olajide Bello has that report.
Concerned by the ripple effect of the criminal acts on the economy and public infrastructures resulting to huge loss of government and private investment in the oil and gas sector, the Nigeria Police Force reorganized and empowered the Special Task Force on petroleum illegal bunkering in the country, and this is the result of that effort.
The IGP anti-pipeline vandalism squad, they have been properly equipped with all the needed equipment and all the needed facility to ensure that they nip in the bud all form of criminality has to do with breaking of our pipelines that is conveying crude to most of the refineries in the country, and to equally ensure that all other crimes that has to do with offshore, onshore damage to oil facilities are dealt with appropriately.
The Force Public Relations Officer says effort is being intensified to arrest other suspects still at large as investigation is in progress. In Abuja, Olajide Bello, NTA News.
As part of efforts by the federal government to tackle erosion and other environmental challenges towards improved crop production, the Ecological Fund Office has inaugurated a drainage basin and erosion control project at Ahmadu Bello University Zaria. Modashiru Aliyu reports.
The erosion control and drainage basin at Ahmadu Bello University Dam is intended to achieve dual purposes of taking advantage of agricultural potentials within the area, as well as provide greater opportunity to the university community in the area of research and development. Speaking at the inauguration, the Minister of State Mines and Steel Development, Abubakar Bawabwari, said that the project is one of the 18 ecological intervention projects approved by the federal government for the first quarter of 2017.
And every one of them is critical to the livelihood of our people. And I'm happy to say that this is the first project we are commissioning.
The Permanent Secretary Ecological Fund Office, Dr. Habib Alawal, expressed satisfaction with the project.
The commissioning and handing over of the project to the benefiting community, specifically to the university, is intended to achieve the purpose of ensuring that the project is taken care of and there is sustainability as we go forward.
We hope this project is going to be the beginning of more development that comes to Ahmadu Bello University.
The project is expected to provide genuine livelihood to the people through rigorous agricultural development and reduce danger associated with erosion and persistent flooding within the area. In Zaria, Mudassir Aliyu, NTA News.
Islam places high premium on the sacredness of human lives and the value of entrenching a peaceful and united society. Guest speakers at the 15th anniversary lecture of Sahara Life in NTA Abuja emphasized these lessons as the true teachings of Islam, which is being exemplified by Sahara Life program since inception. Ablahi Ajia reports that the celebration became a rallying point for inter-religious understanding.
With an overwhelming encomiums and attendance of people from all walks of life and faith, the 15th year anniversary of Sahul Life on NTA was a celebration of a clear testimony that a united Nigeria is realistic if only emphasis is placed on the values of cohesion, love and brotherhood. Guest speakers in our thought-provoking presentations could not agree less on the philosophy of the program, guiding humanity with a psycho-impact in line with the true message of Allah as contained in the Quran.
What we find is in Islam a number of concepts, values, tools, instruments that scholars use to ensure that religion always remains a force for peace building.
After 15 years, we are now going to complete the entire Quran, reading every page.
Dignitaries, including two former and current directors general of the NTA, re-emphasized the need to always work for peace and unity of the country, which the NTA represents and demonstrates on Sahur Live.
The interactive nature of the program is what has made it popular with viewers over the years. The mandate of the Nigerian Television Authority goes beyond public enlightenment, information and entertainment, as we are also saddled with the responsibility of ensuring national cohesion.
It's quite gratifying to be part of this process. Rather than talk too much really about the past, I want to say a great thank you to those who have continued, who have kept the flag flying, and I want to hope that they will do more.
The doggedness and dedication of management and staff of NTA Channel 5, and particularly the production team, is one that we can assure you that we'll continue to put in our best to make sure that this darling program continues to come to our viewers here.
Today, we are celebrating peace.
the oneness of Christians and Muslims in Nigeria is a continuous effort.
Personalities cutting across board were honored with awards of recognition for their contributions towards the success story of the top-notch program. The NTA management is expected to visit the IDP camp in Abuja to climax activities lined up for the anniversary celebration. In Abuja, Abdullahi Ajia, NTA News.
Thank you, Abdullahi. Now, President Muhammadu Buhari joins family members, friends, and colleagues of the cerebral lawyer and senior advocate of Nigeria, Femi Falana, on his 60th birthday milestone, which has been marked with the honors and awards for forthrightness and advocacy for the good of every Nigerian. A statement by the special advisor to the president, media and publicity, Femi Adesina, says President Buhari commends Mr. Falana's sense of patriotism over the years and his advisory roles to leaders, institutions, and governments, especially on the value of good governance and upholding human rights. The statement added that the president prayed the Almighty God to grant the human rights lawyer long life, good health, and more wisdom to keep serving the country. And you are watching Weekend File on the network service of the NTA. And tonight, we are actually deliberating on the research environment in Nigeria and, of course, the problems and prospects of that subsector. Do stay with us.
Smartphone Network.
Brought us as usual.
As usual.
You
have no problem.
For the three put
you are welcome, sir.
As usual, yeah? I was
you take that one. You take that one. You don't understand? We want Nigerian homegrown rice. Finish. You don't have? You don't have?
Join the rice revolution today.
No other rice that tastes like Nigerian rice. Are you sorry? That's the Nigerian rice we are talking about. Chocolate made in Nigerian rice. Healthy food. I'm going to bring Mrs. Mobu to come to chocolate rice of made in Nigeria here. And see how it are made.
Correct.
And how they are cook it.
Correct.
Homegrown rice are good for your health. It boosts our economy and give employment to our people.
This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
I think that for the first time in a long time in my experience, a news organization like the NTA goes out on its own to really go and find out what is going on in terms of development. All other organizations, including you, are always there when things don't work. But I think this is a departure from the past. This is, I think, what investigation and investigative journalism will be. And so I'm delighted to be here.
You're welcome back. Research is said to be a critical enabler to economic growth and development, with its relevance cutting across the policy process. Experts believe its role to propel the economy cannot be overemphasized, especially in developing nations like Nigeria, with her rapidly increasing population. What is the condition and how well positioned are the nation's research institutes to deliver on their specific mandates for achieving the needed national development. Justin Bermunye in this background report seeks to find out.
Nations all over the world have recognized that national growth and competitiveness in the context of a globalized economy depend very much on continuous technological improvement and innovation, driven by a well-organized, vibrant research and development system. There are more than 66 research institutes in Nigeria, including medical, agricultural, science and technology, education, and socio-economic. However, most of the research activities are in the areas of agriculture and medical. Major actors in research and development have affirmed that the capacity of Nigerian research institutions is unquestionable in terms of delivering the expected contribution to national development.
Supposing you get out today to the farming community, trying to find out how many new crop varieties are out there, I'm telling you, you'll be surprised.
Even with these acknowledged progress so far made in the institutions, the experts have maintained critically that more needs to be done. Improved funding and conditions of service are some key areas they think should be looked into.
If it is possible for government to create what we call NARICOM, which is a National Agri Research Commission, to be on its own, so that we will be funded directly. Under that commission, we would even perform better than where we are now.
A researcher from one of the most advanced and complex research institutes in Nigeria also suggests
the federal government should actually be the one to tell the agencies that are supposed to be doing science and technology what they need from them. Say, we want this solution, and then each parastatal will now look at this and solve the problem according to the dictates of the federal government.
Most importantly, these experts have commended the government for efforts so far made to enhance the industrialization of research findings and emphasized the need for the creation of more enabling environment to connect researchers and the private sector. Justin Bermunye, NTA News.
The Nigerian Institute for Oil Palm Research, NEFO, Edo State, was established in 1939 with a mandate to conduct research into production of oil, palm, and other palms of economic importance and transfer its findings to farmers. The institute, for many years, played a leading role in this regard. But today, the story has changed as research activities have dwindled. Ogochukwu Okaona has an update on the institute.
The 79-year-old research institute attained international reputation as a center for excellence based on early breakthroughs. Key among them was in the area of genetic improvement, a component of which has become the basis of controlled pollination and production of hybrid oil palm seed all over the world. NIFO was also popular for the production of oil palm, coconuts, raffia palm, date palm, shea butter, among other products. Understanding crops through research and transfer of same to farmers and entrepreneurs facilitated the feats.
We have also, over time, developed what we can call agronomy packages and use products out of palm oil. Vitamin E, for instance. We have 5 mandate crops which we work on.
With our current capacity to produce 12 million sprouted seeds as against 3 million national requirements, the Institute says favorable policies and political framework as well as adequate funding are required to revive research activities which have dwindled in recent times.
Because it's very capital intensive, and then you require a conducive environment in terms of social, political environment that we can guarantee access to land.
The activities of NIFO have actually declined because what I think is associated with funding and manpower. There was a time that NIFO was like a university, in fact better than a university in terms of research in oil palm. When you get to NIFOR, it's so uninviting. Starting from the access road, starting from the environment.
As the demand for palm oil grows, key players are advocating the strengthening of such institutes through intervention funds like the National Agricultural Research Development Fund. In Benin, Ogochkuka Ona, NTA News.
Lack of human development capacity and state-of-the-art facilities have continued to be the major challenges of Sokoto State Energy Research Institute. Muhammad Nasir tells us more.
Sokoto Energy Research Center was established in 1982 with the mandate of conducting research and training in renewable energy. The center had in 1993, under a pilot scheme, provided 7.2 kilowatt solar electricity to a nearby community, Kolkolawa, which was later upgraded to 10 kilowatt and 15 kilowatt and relocated to Danjawa and Koralvela villages.
The demand for power is higher than the supply. So because of the energy mix, the injection of solar PV, we believe economic activities will spring up in many locations.
Under the solar thermal unit, the center has been conducting research on how to harness heat from the sun and generate electricity. Many devices have been produced that include 1,000 liters solar heating system, water pumping system, and solar irrigation system.
You see that the consumption of electricity in terms of heating is our 60%. So therefore we try to install solar water heaters in public institutions so that this could be minimized in terms of to manage the few megawatts that the country was able to produce.
The center also, in addition to training people, engage in research on combating organic waste to regenerate cooking gas.
For us to effectively conduct research, development and training, we require to update our knowledge, and we require state-of-art facilities. So there is a need for government to improve this in these areas.
However, these devices were provided for both industrial and domestic purposes, but lack of patronage from government and individuals remain a big challenge. In Sokoto, Muhammad Nasir, NTA News.
From Ibadan, Goke Alomuge highlights the successes and challenges of Cocoa Research Institute of Nigeria and its statutory functions.
Cocoa being one of Nigeria's cash crops is the leading agricultural export of the country, serving as a foreign exchange earner. Nigeria's share of the world cocoa market has substantially reduced in recent years, owing to the diversion of focus to the oil sector and a combination of other factors. However, with the current economic challenges facing the country, government is beginning to shift back focus to agriculture so as to boost the revenue of the country. One of the institutes at the forefront of innovation of agricultural sector in the country is the Cocoa Research Institute of Nigeria, CRIN, in Ibadan. The research outfit is set up to facilitate improved production of disease-resistant cocoa and other mandate crops like cola, coffee, cashew, and tea.
Right from the planting, maintenance, harvesting, primary processing, and finally processing into table products. We have been extending information from farmer to the government and vice versa.
The challenge, however, is the recalcitrant nature of some farmers to adopt new technologies for improved production.
We need money to really put a lot of things in place. We need money to really make sure that we have constant light so that our laboratory can function very well. The method of raising seedling has gotten beyond what we can refer to as just ordinary. So biotechnology, via where we can propagate more than 1 million seedling within 6 months is something that the institute can have.
In spite of the challenges, stakeholders believe that the importance of a robust research institute cannot be overemphasized as the country stands to benefit from sustainable agriculture. In Ibadan, Goke Alomogi, NTA News.
And in the quest to support industrial growth in 1976, the federal government took over the then East Central State-owned Project Development Institute, PODA. today. PRODA has added its scientific support to the economic development of Nigeria through industrial equipment production. Chegono Aro completes the report.
The Project Development Institute, PRODA, was established by an edict in 1971 and later by Decree 5 in 1977 when the federal government took over from the Eastern region. The mandate was to support industrial growth through self-reliance. Before now, the institute was producing science equipment until the federal government ceded the power to the Scientific Equipment Development Institute, SEDI, also in Enugu. With this arm chopped off, PRODA busied itself with research in agro-based industrial machines for food processing. It also went into fabrication and general food processing. Due to lack of adequate funding, the institute does not produce these agro-based machines in commercial quantity. Rather, it fabricates and sells out to waiting clients.
And I would like to mention that agro-processing industry is one of the sectors where the institute has made very, very significant marks and continue to make it up till today.
According to key players in the agri sector, indicators are signaling lack of attention on PRODA, which has led to underutilization. The mandate to support industrial growth is minimal, raising the question of what could be done to improve productivity and raise the standard of human resources.
This is a communal Gary fryer. We build it in such a way that 5 or 6 persons can be frying on it.
With this, pencils, toothpicks, erasers, and other school and home equipments will be produced locally in large quantity. In Enugu, Chegono Aro, NTA News.
And those were the situation reports from some national research institutes. And up ahead, we are going to host the National Secretary General Academic Staff Union of Research Institutes, Dr. Theophilus Ndubuako, who will further throw more light on this issue. Now, stay with us. We shall return in a moment.
To the outer framers, the hat tippers, the fringe goers, you don't need to hide anymore. Try Dettol Even Tone. It cleans and helps to reduce the appearance of blemishes caused by oil, dirt and germs, giving your skin a healthy feel for an even better you. Dettol, be 100% sure.
Dettol soap is now also available for 100 Naira. At the end of 2017, the Buhari administration delivered a number of unprecedented achievements. Generated power has gone up to 7,000 megawatts in 2017 from 3,000 megawatts in May 2015. More than 1.6 trillion naira has been spent on infrastructure for roads, bridges, housing, dams and railways. Nigeria moved up 24 places on the World Bank's Ease of Doing Business rankings and earned a place on the list of top 10 reformers in the world. Today, 5.2 million primary school children in 28,249 schools in 19 states are receiving a free meal daily. Our customs service recorded its highest ever revenue collection of 1 trillion naira in a single year. Our foreign exchange reserves grew by $12 billion, reaching the highest level since 2014. We added $250 million to the Sovereign Wealth Fund and officially moved out of recession.
And joining me now in the studio is the National Secretary General, Academic Staff Union of Research Institutes, ASURI, Dr. Theophilus Ndubuako. You're welcome to Weekend File.
Thank you, Kerry.
Now, as a union leader, you must be in a position to understand what is going on at these research institutes. Now, what's, in your opinion, is the state of affairs, generally speaking, in these institutes?
Yeah, well, the truth is that the situation is really bad. We've been going this way for a long time. In 1966, there was a National Science and Technology policy that was developed. It was initiated at that time. And until just this year, nothing much was done. It's just this government that has really, taken the whole thing, the bull by the horn, and has established what we call the National Research and Innovation Council. That council, the bill has just been passed by the National Assembly. It makes provision for elaborate funding of research institutions. And most of the countries that we started with, we were at par with them, India, Pakistan. Some of them were coming here, sending their people here to come and look for a job in the 70s. They've overtaken us. And the reason is that the research has never really been funded. We have depended on budgetary allocation, but research is not funded by irregular budgetary allocation and things like that. And so for so many years, 50-something years, nothing tangible was done about research. And that's why you see that a resource-rich nation that like Nigeria now has become very poor with a lot of issues, problems related to underdevelopment. And then you find that we are very rich in terms of resources. God virtually put in a little of, or even much of every mineral, important mineral, into this country. And we are really rich in terms of resources, but we have not been able to convert these resources into goods and services.
You're saying that apart from what happened in 1966, it's only this administration that is taking the issue of research and development seriously.
Yes, the funding.
Now, you said the bill has been passed, but not yet assented by the president. Yes. All right, now there are other issues. Well, you said that the research institutes are being funded through annual budget and what have you. Now, could it be true that research institutes are not adequately tooled to conduct groundbreaking research work? What I mean here is that even the little you have should have been enough for you people to come up with something.
Yeah, the point here is that, sincerely speaking, most of the research that goes on, most of it is driven by individuals. Because the system in the research industry is such that if you don't do research, you cannot be promoted. And if you don't go for further training, that acquire masters or PhD degree, you can't be promoted. So when you come in, it dawns on you that you have to really spend your money because nobody is funding your training. Most research institutes don't have fund for training, postgraduate training. Most of them don't even have fund for research itself. So the little that is available, you have to make it up by yourself with your salary. And that's why you can't, there's a limit to what you can do with little funding. So when you're talking about groundbreaking, it's not as if we don't have the people who can do that. But the fact is that the situation is such that people are not retained because of the conditions of service, because of poor funding, because of lack of governance systems that can run research in the way that you have it in other climes. So the point here is that funding has been an issue, and because there's little funding, there's inadequate funding, we have not been able to retain the type of manpower. People are trained. Once they get the PhD, they move to the university because it's a better option for them, and it's a greener pasture for them. And then again, they have the same qualification as university lecturers, so they just move over because they don't want to remain, in this poor state
of research institutes.
Yes.
Okay, now paucity of fund, seems to be the major problem here. Yet we have technologies that have emerged from various research institutes, probably based on the self-efforts that you're talking about. Now, what about this industry laboratory linkage, that is lacking?
Yes, this country will have elaborate infrastructure, research infrastructure. For instance, you know that we have NBTI, that is National Board for Technology Incubation. Their duty is to get this research result, technologies, incubate it, and then create a linkage between the research institutes and industries. But the problem is that how many of those technologies are fertile for incubation? Technology is not something. It's not something that it's something that you must continue to improve upon. And so you say a researcher can do the much he can do, and we'll say, look, that's the much I can do. If there's more funding, more research, more development. So that's the situation. But like I said, there is a silver lining in the sky. We've gotten to the point where there is an elaborate arrangement for funding research. That's this new bill that has been passed. And we want to give credit to the Senator David Umaru, who initiated it. It was what you call the private members bill, but it was co-sponsored by 60 senators, and then it's been passed now, and the thing is, and the way we are looking at it, very soon, the whole thing will change. The picture will change.
What is there for you? Because many suggest that non-inclusion of research institutes in the third fund is also part of the problem. Where are you going to source this fund from, even with the passage of the bill?
Yeah, for 10 years now, we've been struggling to get research institutes into third fund, and the university ASU has always resisted. And I think that's what informed the senators, the National Assembly, to go ahead and put this bill together. This bill is going to be funded by agencies, funding agencies, including third fund. Third fund will have to put in 5% of its fund. Sugar fund will go 5%. Automotive fund will go. PTDF fund will go. So it's just they are drawing fund from all these funding agencies that are already in place to put together that will form the fund for the foundation, that is the National Research and Innovation.
Now, what is the guarantee that when these funds begin to come, that they will be utilized adequately for research? Because paucity of fund is one. There are also other issues, such as internal wranglings, professors, fighting against each other, and what have you.
I think the point, even as we are talking now, there's already an impending strike by JORAISU, that's the Joint Research and Allied Institutions Union. Now, the point here is that this particular fund, the chairman of the council is the president, and the almost 14 ministers that have research institutes within their ministry are going to be members of the fund. So it's going to be controlled from the highest level of government, and therefore we are not worried that there will be any issues. It's an elaborate thing that has been made, and is driven by the National Science and Technology Policy. But the other issues that we are also talking about, like you say, you talk about governance. Yes, we have a problem in the research institute where people are brought in from outside to come and become chief executives of research institutions. And then the argument is, they're coming from the university. But the truth about it, and this must be told, is that there's a difference between a university lecturer and a research institute person. Yeah. So when he comes in, sometimes for the 5 years he's going to be there, before his tenure ends, he's still learning. Yes.
Okay. Now, what's your assessment of the competence of Nigerian researchers?
Oh, wonderful people. Because you see, we know that even with the little that is available, a lot of progress has been made. For instance, that Nigeria has been importing wheat to the tune of about $1 billion. We've been importing rice to the tune of $2 billion. We've been importing fish to the tune of $1 billion. And when we're talking about $1 billion, we're talking about 360 billion naira. But as it is now, we know that once there is fund, within 1 year, in fact, there was a time I mentioned at the National Assembly that if we have adequate funding, because I know this system very well, within 1 year, this economy will change because we know what can be done.
Okay. All right. At this point, we'd like to thank you. Thank you so much for your time. You've been able to bring a good insight into this conversation. Thank you very much indeed. I have been speaking with the Secretary General, Academic Staff Union of Research Institutes Nigeria, Dr. Theophilus Ndubako. Once again, thank you for being part of our program this evening. All right. We'll catch up with some sports and weather reports after this timeout.
Experience, they say, is the best teacher.
They hold us from the sea. Thank God that we came back home. They should not go there because it's not good. It's a very bad place. So they just my advice.
Even now, sir, if they are shooting the boat they are going to use to go Italy, may they stop it. Our country is good. Our country is a blessed country. Now I know our country is a blessed country. I know before I for not travel from Nigeria to Libya.
I know how much I spent.
Let these personal experiences serve as a lesson to all who would repeat their mistakes. A word is enough for the wise.
This is a public service announcement brought to you by NTA.
Now, elegance and class found expressions in floral arrangements, fascinators, dresses, suits, jewelries at the royal wedding of Britain's Prince Harry and his American sweetheart, Meghan Markle, in Windsor, England. Garba Muhammad Natala tells us more.
Wearing a lovely white, simple yet classy and wedding dress designed by the acclaimed British designer Claire White Keller, Meghan Markle sparkled as she arrived with her mother, escorted with 6 bridesmaids and 4 page boys, including Prince George and Princess Charlotte.
All that I am, I give to you.
And all that I have.
And all that I have.
I share with you.
I share with you.
Within the love of God.
Within the love of God.
Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
The wedding service, which was held at St. George's Chapel in Windsor, earlier has been adjudged as the most expensive wedding and was presided over by Most Reverend Bishop Michael Curry.
Love is as strong as death.
For the first time in the history of the royal wedding, the bride walked herself down the aisle to a certain spot and was joined by her father-in-law due to her father's absence. Huge crowds gathered in Windsor with hundreds of die-hard royalists, many decked out in the national colors of both Britain and the United States.
All right, national under-17 male and female volleyball teams set to vie for single slots. And let's get more of this from our correspondent, Adiola Omokivi.
The nation's under-17 male and female volleyball teams are currently in Cotonou, Benin Republic for the All-Africa Youth Games qualifiers, built to take place in Algiers come July